The whole town of Dodge City would later swear they saw sin that summer afternoon, but none of them knew the truth, and the man who started the ugliest rumor wasn't a stranger. The truth began the moment a young woman stepped off the train, and two brothers looked at her with very different eyes. Dust hung thick in the air as the locomotive hissed to a stop under the Kansas sun. Elsie Hart was only 22, her dress too light for the stairs, her hands tied around a single suitcase that held her entire future. She was a mail-order bride, sent west by ink and paper, promised to a man she had never touched. She didn't know a single line of ink could turn into a noose. Caleb Mercer was waiting at the edge of the platform. 49 years old, broad-shouldered, weathered by cattle and silence, he removed his hat when he saw her. He didn't smile much. He did not stare. He simply nodded, as if honoring a promise made long before either of them arrived. And then there was Wade. Wade Mercer leaned against a post near the saloon, boots crossed, eyes sharp. He was younger than Caleb, smoother, louder, and hungry in ways the prairie never forgave. He smiled like a man who always got what he wanted, one way or another. The moment Elsie stepped down, his gaze locked onto her like a claim, not curiosity, possession. That was the first second everything went wrong. Caleb introduced himself quietly, offering his hand with care. Elsie shook it, relieved by his calm, unaware of the way Wade circled closer. Smiling like a man already planning, Wade spoke too fast, too friendly. He offered to carry her bag. He joked about ranch life. He leaned close enough for his voice to lower. "You sure you came for the right brother?" He said it like a tease, but his eyes said something darker. Elsie felt it then. That prickle between her shoulders, that sense of being watched, weighed, judged. She did not know the town yet, but the town already knew her. By sundown, Dodge City was whispering, a young bride, an older groom, a woman alone in a place that devoured weakness. Caleb saw the looks and said nothing. Wade saw the looks and stored them away like tools. As they left the station and headed toward the ranch, Wade walked just a step behind Elsie, close enough to guide, close enough to trap, close enough to believe she might belong to him instead. That night, as the sun burned red over Kansas grass, Wade made a quiet decision. If the town could be turned against his brother, he would turn it. If the girl could be shamed, she would be broken. And if she broke, she would have nowhere to stand except with him. Elsie thought she was stepping into a marriage. She did not know she was stepping into a war between brothers. And in Dodge City, the quiet wars were the ones that drew blood. And when the town finally turned on her, would she see who truly meant to protect her before it was too late? The first week at the Mercer Ranch felt quiet on the surface. Too quiet. Summer lay heavy over the Kansas grass, cicadas buzzing like gossip that never slept. Elsie tried to settle into her new life, learning the rhythms of cattle, water buckets, and long afternoons that stretched forever. Caleb kept his word. He gave her space. Whoa. He spoke when it mattered. He treated her like a woman, not a purchase. Wade watched it all. Every morning he found a reason to be nearby. Elsie started to feel like she couldn't breathe without Wade noticing. Fixing a fence that did not need fixing, offering advice no one asked for, smiling just a little too long when Caleb turned away. Elsie noticed the way his eyes followed her. Not friendly, not curious, but measuring. Caleb noticed too. He said nothing. Out here, men handled problems when they had proof. The accident happened just after noon, when the heat pressed down hard and the horses grew restless. Elsie wanted to learn to ride properly, not like a guest, but like someone who belonged. Caleb agreed. Walking beside her, she mounted near the windmill by the open pasture. A noise spooked the horse, maybe a shout from the road, maybe laughter drifting from town. The horse jerked. Elsie slipped. She hit the ground hard, pain shooting up her thigh. Caleb was at her side instantly, steady hands, calm voice. He knelt, lifting the edge of her skirt just enough to see where the swelling was already blooming dark beneath her skin. Right then, a laugh drifted in from the road, and Elsie froze. Elsie grabbed his wrist, breath tight. "Don't," Someone might see. Caleb hesitated only a second. Out here, you don't gamble with a leg injury. He finished checking the bruise and then helped her stand. Neither of them noticed the rider slow on the road beyond the fence. But that rider noticed everything, and he rode straight back to town. That rider was Wade's hired hand, and he smiled all the way back to town. By nightfall, the story was already changing. A man at the saloon swore he saw something improper. A woman at the church whispered about decency. By morning, Dodge City was buzzing. Wade moved like a savior. He shook his head with false concern. He spoke softly about protecting a young woman's reputation. Then he found Elsie alone near the barn. "People talk," he said gently. "They're cruel when they don't understand. I could help you," he added. "You shouldn't be tied to a scandal this early." His hand hovered a little too close, like her future belonged in his pocket. Elsie felt the trap closing, even if she could not yet name it. Wade was not offering help. He was offering control. And as the town sharpened its judgment, one question hung heavy in the summer air. When the lies finally turned dangerous, would Caleb see what his brother was really planning before Elsie lost everything? By the next morning, Dodge City had decided who Elsie was. No one asked her. No one waited for the truth. A woman passing the general store looked her up and down and turned away. A man outside the saloon laughed and said something she pretended not to hear. Elsie felt it in the air, thick as summer heat. Once a town makes up its mind, it does not rush to change it. Caleb noticed the shift right away. He saw how people stopped meeting his eyes, how conversations went quiet when he entered a room. He did not argue. He believed lies burned out faster when fed no oxygen. Wade believed the opposite. He leaned into the whispers. He nodded with false sympathy. He told people he worried for the girl. He said Caleb did not understand how towns worked. And then he went to Elsie again. This time, his voice dropped lower. "Kind. Careful. People can be cruel," he said. "They don't forgive easy around here. But a woman with a husband, a proper husband, she gets protected." He wasn't trying to save her. He was trying to claim her. Elsie felt her stomach turn. It was not the word. It was the patience behind them. Wade was not rushing. He was waiting for her to feel cornered. That afternoon, Caleb found her sitting on the porch steps, hands folded tight. She did not cry. She did not accuse. She only asked one question. "Did I do something wrong?" Caleb sat beside her. The boards creaked under his weight. "No," he said. "You got hurt, that's all." She believed him. That was the difference Wade did not understand. But trust alone does not stop danger. If you were Caleb, would you swallow your pride and stay quiet? Or would you put your own brother on the ground right then? As evening came on, Wade made his move. He spoke to the right people. He made sure the right doors closed. He told Elsie there was a way out before things got worse. A short ride, a quiet conversation, just to settle things. Caleb heard about it too late. A look from a ranch hand, a comment that did not sit right. And suddenly the pieces fit together in a way that made his blood run cold, because this was no longer about gossip. It was about control. And as night settled over Dodge City, one thing became clear. Someone was about to cross a line they could not walk back from. And when that line gets crossed, it happens fast, usually in the dark. Before we go on, if you enjoy stories like this, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss the ending. And take a moment, pour yourself a cup of tea, settle in, and tell me, what time is it right now and where are you listening from? Because what happened next would change everything, and not everyone would walk away standing. Night came slow and thick over Dodge City, the kind of night where voices carried farther than they should, the kind of night where bad ideas felt brave. Elsie stood near the edge of the livery yard, hands clasped tight at her waist. Wade had told her it would be simple, just a short ride, just a talk where no one could hear them wrong. He said it was the only way to calm the town down. She did not like the way the wagon was already hitched. She did not like how ready everything felt. like he had planned the night before she ever agreed to come. She did not like how his smile never quite reached his eyes. Wade stepped closer. "You trust me, don't you?" He said it like an answer, not a question. Before she could speak, a hand closed around her arm. And that was the moment Elsie realized Wade wasn't asking anymore. Not rough, not yet, but firm enough to leave no doubt. That was when Caleb's voice cut through the dark. "Let her go." The yard went still. A horse stamped once. Somewhere, a door creaked shut. Wade turned, surprise flashing across his face before it hardened.